All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Court Rudnowski, publisher of Yankee T News, co-sponsorship by Greenwich Stanford Tea Party Patriots. This is session number 2 of our news for August 15th. There's just so much stuff going on now, it's incredible. Where I want to start here is there's a woman named Dr. Simone Gold. Some of you may remember her. She was the voice and the face of the American frontline doctors fighting against the CDC and the FDA. Well, she happened to be there in Capitol building on January 6th, and she's serving a 60-day prison sentence for a nonviolent misdemeanor, as they say. In any event, she wrote a letter, and I just wanted to quickly read it. So this is a letter from Dr. Simone Gold in prison. I remain in this Miami prison serving time for a bogus trespassing charge. My computer time is limited to 15 minutes per session, and I wanted to express my thanks to countless letters of support and prayers. Even the prison staff noted the volume of supportive mail. I am both humbled and strengthened. Thank you. Using the excuse of COVID-19 on all incoming inmates, we are put into a punishment isolation cell under the guise of a, quote, quarantine. They told me it wasn't for punishment, but it was certainly a punishing and inhumane experience. Apparently, men are not subjected to this treatment. And another form of arbitrary punishment is moving me along with the other cellmates to new cells with no notice. The guard simply yells my name, and I'm expected to move immediately. My staff knows that if I stop emailing or calling, it's because they've moved me or possibly put me back in isolation. I've noticed activity in the prison that makes me fearful for my own safety. However, my spirits are high. I am more than determined ever to keep fighting. Keep fighting for you and medical freedom. P.S. If you want to send me a letter directly, here's my prison email address, etc. Simone Gold. So, it speaks for itself. Okay, here you go. Too little, too late. Disband the CDC now, which is a good follow-on to her. Some noise has been making out of the fact that the CDC put out yet another set of guidelines, which essentially is saying no more COVID pandemic. Now, they can make all the excuses they want, but as one person noted, these new guidelines are the same as what Florida was using in February of 2020, okay? Same standards. And the CDC doing this is without their admitting it, they're admitting they were wrong all along. So to all that they have put the people through, all they've done to this nation, all the overreach that they have engaged in to come to this point is outrageous. So you guess what? Yes, disband the CDC. And while you're at it, there are certain people who need to go to jail. So I had to share that with you. All right. Remember, tonight's clue was extreme rhetoric. So here's an example of extreme rhetoric. Atlantic Magazine, which is supposed to be an intellectual publication, has an op-ed that claims the Catholic Rosary has become an extremist symbol. They call it the AR-15 of Christianity. Oh my. The Rosary. Is anybody paying attention? So they want to accuse us of extreme rhetoric, and then they come out with crap like that. Quite frankly, a number of us should send these people a letter and tell them that they're out of their minds, they're not fooling anybody, and if they want to keep their credibility, they better rethink their approach. All right, we put up the link for a white paper by some students at the University of Michigan, Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. It has the rather benign title, Automated Ballot Image Manipulation. All they did was show how you can write code that would be inserted into a Dominion machine where the vote that's put on the ballot actually gets flipped before it is stored in the machine, before it's stored, okay? It may seem like a minor point, but it just opens up the degree to which fraud can be committed. And it's an ongoing problem, that's all I can say. All right, meantime, another thing that should get everybody upset. So in the opening segment, the regular part of the news, the degree to which China has infiltrated us is so much worse. It is so much worse than any of us could imagine. True the Vote just released some information showing that China has information, has personal data on 1.8 million U.S. election workers on servers in Wuhan, all right? And the data that they've collected on these workers includes the names of their children, among other things. Okay, so that's just one part of the problem, if you will. Okay, moving on. And Biden's CIA director employed undisclosed Chinese Communist Party members while heading elite DC think tank. Okay, this was CIA Director William Burns, headed up a DC think tank while employing members of the Chinese Communist Party. This, I could scream, okay? I could just scream. Now, there's this other one. We've heard this from time to time. Mike Pompeo says he has a list of the governors who are soft in their relationship to China. Now, this upsets me because I had seen this list, but I couldn't, and then I went on to other things and I couldn't print it out. So I had a look at it, but I'll just say that I'm skeptical. It's broken down into three parts. Those who would work with, those are hardliners, and those of which they're unclear. But if you have Brian Kemp down as a hardliner against China, I don't believe you for 1 second. Just saying, okay? Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia. Okay, so again to review, this is the study, the New York State Empire Factory Gauge, which plunged 42 points to negative 31, the second largest decline on record. All right, so maybe the impact is not immediate, but we're going to have to, keep our eyes out for it. Meantime, see what's the other part here. All right, I've got the link up for this. It's just more on how China has infiltrated us. It's very disturbing, all right? Okay. Now this one is confusing. Okay, so I have up an article, Ukraine is losing the war, and so is Europe as a result. All right, so this is one. This was actually on Ron Paul's website. The problem is I came across another piece claiming that the Ukrainians had captured 20,000 Russian troops as part of the battle around Kherson, Kherson, plus these HIMAR missiles continue to destroy the bridges where the Russians are trying to reinforce. So Ukraine's losing the war, they're causing damage. It could be both. What's the truth? I don't know. I had to share it with you. Okay, how about a moment of levity? Dog catches monkeypox from French gay owners. Yes. Yes. Apparently the dog liked to sleep on the bed with these gay partners, and by that means it appears the poor dog also got monkeypox. Oh my. Okay. All right, the other thing we have up is this piece titled Weaponizing the First Amendment. So answers to the burning question. So basically, it's about pushing back, all right? It's to see all this stuff that's going on about disinformation and fake news. You too can do something about it, and here it is. Now this one talks about how to break up the FBI. It's basically about defunding them, but the other proposal is that you would break up the FBI and put different parts in different areas around the city. It's almost like you turn the headquarters into a field office. It might work, it might not. The problem is deeper than that. Now, Dan HAAR is a liberal commentator in Connecticut newspapers, and it's a very stupid article they wrote, but I just have to remind you, people like this Dan HAAR, they're just friggin' propagandists. And he's trying to make Leora Levy seem like she's not Hispanic. Are you out of your mind? Yeah, so forget that. Okay, moving on. So that was part of that. Now this is disturbing. On this, I want to make the general point. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation is falling apart. Our institutions are falling apart from top to bottom. The top, you have the likes of Merrick Garland and others who are not doing their job and being sneaky and doing things that really violate the law and the Constitution. However, at the bottom of these institutions, you have individuals who also fail in their own way. So, in Hartford police charged a Department of Children and Family social worker with helping a mother wanted on sex trafficking charges. So this worker, in effect, is involved in sex trafficking in Connecticut with children. The lack of discretion and sensibility by a person who's supposed to be a state employee with very specific guidelines on how to conduct yourself in situations like these doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a thing. At the same time, down in Texas, there's a video showing a 14-year-old girl being told by a social worker there that she should become a prostitute. How does that sound to you? All right, as we're getting closer to the end here, okay, I just want to remind you, this article, Bridgeport is Connecticut's king of absentee ballots, and absentee ballot voters. I want to remember that what scandals we've had over with absentee ballots, it's either Stamford or it's Bridgeport. So this piece will tell you all about it. Then this one, a token of the managerial age, bewails Trump's surge. This is David Brooks, this guy from Yale who's really, if there's ever, he does and says smart things, but he's so off base. So anyway, I suggest you read that. And then for Connecticut COMMIE of the week, we got a twofer here. All right, so there's Alberto Bernardez, basically another labor organizer who is on the committee for the Amistad Awards. That's cool. So the information's here, the link, go check it out. But then I discovered this guy, Luis Luna. Here, I don't get a good look at that character. Luis Luna, right, Luis Luna. All right, Luis Luna, while strictly not necessarily a communist, does work with the Working Families Party, which is as good as the Communist Party. And he has a podcast out of New Haven called Derretiendo el Hielo, Melting the Ice. Ice, of course, referring to, the Immigration Control and Enforcement Group, Border Patrol, basically. And so he has a radio show dedicated to getting rid of ICE, coming out of New Haven. How do you like them apples? Okay? So I thought you might like to check that out. So there's a lot to read, a lot to learn. I hope you go check it out. Thank you very much and good night. All right.